They didn't explain anything like the rules of self-quarantine?
No. No.
Okay, that's very interesting. Were you given any literature to read, or?
Not at customs, no.
Oh, no. Okay, then. So the whole topic of the coronavirus, COVID-19, that didn't come up?
Didn't come up at all.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Well, folks, it's coming up for 3 o'clock, and there are a couple of international flights about to touch down here. One is from London, England. The other is from Beijing, China. And I know what you're saying. Beijing, China. Weren't a lot of the foreign flights into Canada canceled? Weren't the borders tightened up? Despite what we're being told by our political leaders, it doesn't seem that passengers that are arriving from international locales are being given the kind of screening we would expect them to receive. So I want to know if they can remember anything that they were told when they were coming through customs. For example, where they explained verbally the rules of self-quarantine, or where they simply handed a pamphlet. And did anyone take their temperature? And also, you may recall that Health Minister Patricia Hajdu last week said that masks, like the kind I'm wearing, would be given to asymptomatic passengers. But everyone I've spoken to in the days since she made that statement say they've never witnessed anyone receiving a mask. And besides, I thought back in February, all our masks were given away to China by Justin Trudeau, even though we have a couple of Canadians that have been held hostage there without a trial for more than a year. But then again, China is that kind of basic dictatorship that he admires. So anyways, as the passengers deplane, let's see what they have to say, and hopefully there will be some good news to report on the screening front. Hi folks, are you just off the flight from London? I'm just asking people, ma'am, if can you tell me what the customs officials were telling you when you went through border control? Was there any specific questions they asked you? Any specific instructions they gave you?
They just asked us if we were coughing, sicknesses.
Yeah, if we felt ill and stuff, yeah, just that.
Hi guys, did you just get off the flight from Beijing? Yes. I was just wondering, sir, can you remember what the customs officials were telling you when you were going through customs?
No, I can't remember.
He was asking me whether I had any symptoms, and reminded me of the 14 days isolation. That was about it, yeah. And gave me forms, of course, printouts.
And did they ask you any specific questions, sir?
Not really, just asking us how we felt.
Asked us if we had fever or headache or cough or anything, just making sure that we were okay, and we had no sign of anything, no.
Can you tell me what the customs agents told you when you got off the plane?
Sorry, English is not good.
Okay.
Sorry,
No problem.
sorry.
Okay, have a good day.
No, just see. Well, we had these forms that were given to us that we had to read, and just the usual thing at customs as to what we were bringing in, but fairly simple and straightforward.
Did they ask you any specific questions, sir?
We have some paperwork.
Oh, they gave you some paper. Did you read it yet?
Not full yet.
Nobody at customs told you anything special?
Nothing that we don't already know.
They didn't explain anything like the rules of self-quarantine?
No. No.
Okay, that's very interesting. Were you given any literature to read, or?
Not at customs, no.
Oh, no. Okay, then. So the whole topic of the coronavirus, COVID-19, that didn't come up?
Didn't come up at all.
Did you just get off the flight from Beijing?
Yeah, but my English not good, sorry.
Okay. On the subject of the self-quarantine of 14 days, sir, did he say that, do you remember any tips he gave you in terms of when it takes place, about whether or not you could stop on the way home, things like that?
No, he didn't mention that, but he did give me the forms which kind of outlined everything that I should be doing and what I can do to self-isolate.
14 days. And did they say when it takes effect?
No.
Okay, then. How about yourself?
No, they didn't specify that.
Okay. Did you notice that anyone took your temperature remotely while you were here?
No.
No. For yourself?
Okay. No, not at all.
No, they didn't.
They do it anywhere, like during the airplane and that before they take off. Yeah,
But not here, though.
not here. Yeah.
And did you notice if anyone took your temperature remotely?
No.
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 Nobody.
No.
No, not at all.
Speaking of masks, last week the federal health minister, Patricia Hajdu, said that asymptomatic passengers would be given masks upon arrival into Canada. Did you notice anyone being given masks?
No, I didn't. No, there were people that were on board that had masks, and quite a few, but they were not. I didn't see them being offered to anybody.
And did you notice a supply of masks?
I didn't. No.
Not that I noticed. A lot of people already had them on.
No, you have to find out yourself.
You got to find it yourself then, eh?
Yeah.
No. Did you see any agents giving masks out, the kind of masks that you and I are wearing?
Not given any masks.
No. It was deserted. Yeah.
Was social distancing practice on the airplane?
Yep, until the very end. As usual, when the plane lands, everyone stands up and ignores the rules. They said, please stay seated until you get your forms.
Well, folks, it really is a tale of two cities in terms of what the authorities and the politicians are telling us, what's being done at airports to keep us safe, and what we see happening in the airports. For example, this idea of masks like the one I'm wearing being handed out. I haven't found a single eyewitness to confirm that's the truth, unlike what Minister Hajdu said. Secondly, in terms of the Hainan flight from Beijing to Toronto, which was more than 90% empty, so I don't even think they got their fuel costs back on that trip. A couple of concerning points. One is, as you saw, I attempted to interview many of the passengers, and they simply said that they did not understand or could not speak English. So if the customs personnel is giving them instructions in English, how can they comprehend what they're being told? I don't know if there's anyone here who speaks Mandarin or Cantonese, but if there's a language barrier, that is a serious impediment in terms of the type of information that's being absorbed. Secondly, you may not have heard of Hainan Airlines or flown that airline. I don't know anything about them that much either, so I Googled them and I came across a very disturbing review of Hainan Airlines. It was posted by Paul Lucas, who took a Hainan Airlines flight from Dublin, Ireland to Edinburgh, Scotland. I have no idea why a Chinese airliner is servicing the Ireland-Scotland corridor. But in any event, Mr. Lucas, he filmed his experience in that airliner, and well, instead of me talking about it, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Check out this video, folks.
Having lifted my pillow off the seat, I noticed there was an obvious and disgusting stain on my seat. There's no way this could possibly have been missed by the ground crew or by the cabin staff for that matter. As well as the unedifying stains on my seat, there was the remnants of somebody's dinner or perhaps a coffee on the sidewall of the aircraft too. At this point I was prepared to accept that perhaps this was simply one bad flight. But having had a look down the side of the aircraft, it was obvious that this aircraft had not been cleaned properly for some weeks. There was filth and caked in food remains absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, how do you like them apples? The filthiest airliner he has ever traveled. Now, I'm not saying all their planes are like that, but that was grotesque in the best of times during a global pandemic that is egregious and unconscionable. Hopefully the plane that brought these people to Toronto did not have those kind of sanitary conditions. In any event, I will endeavor to bring you more news from the airport, because as I said before, what we're being officially told and what's happening here on ground level at Pearson International seem to be two entirely different stories. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, as you know, unlike the media party, we don't receive a single cent from the Justin Trudeau Liberals, nor would we take it if offered. We are independent, and we strive to bring you the other side of the story. So if you can help us out, please visit our website, helprebelnews.com. That's helprebelnews.com. I know this is a terrible time in which to ask for money, but we do count on your support so that we can continue to bring you the other side of the story.